This is LA's first.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. We're all about manifestation, transformation, and breakthroughs. It's time to claim your birthright of prosperity, vitality, and love. So grab your tea or coffee because together, we're awakening the world. May you live your truth. Live from Los Angeles, we come together each day to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and align with universal law. We also come together in community in Soulciety and New Thought Global. We truly believe that when somebody awakens, they have a gift and message to bring to the world, and together, we're awakening the world. So today we're going to talk about how to be a content queen, how to be a spiritual content queen. So if you're anything like the rest of the world, you probably get a little bit overwhelmed. How do I create the content that goes on social media 365 days a week? How do we create podcasts? How do we create content for shows? How do we create content for books and things like that? And I train and teach within Soulciety how to become the CEO of your personal and professional life. One of the things that I teach within the system is how to replicate things as a CEO, which means that you are creating content on 4 quarters of the year, Q1, 2, 3, 4. Each quarter has 3 months in it. And I'm going to teach you how to become a content queen and basically be able to replicate your content, but never actually replicate it and create incredible product out of it. So, for example, one of the things that we love to do in Soulciety is each quarter, it's fun to play a game of creating one new big piece of content. You could be creating a book in 1 quarter in 3 months. You could create an entire series of talks or a course or all different things from ebooks to different memberships, to creating the framework for what you're going to work with your clients one-on-one. And I'm going to teach you how to repurpose your content. So what I personally do is I have content for 7 days a week and I have themes of the day, okay? So for example, on Monday, I teach universal law. So it's like manifesting Monday. Tuesday is transformational Tuesday, which I talk a lot about subconscious, the reprogram the subconscious mind. Wednesday is a lot about wealth and wisdom and all the kind of universal laws and how they play into things like compounding interest, leverage, things like that. Thursday, Thought Thursday, is leadership, being a thought leader. And we talk a lot about the distinctions within the mastermind and all the distinctions of stepping into leadership. Friday is about dating, love, and relationships. Saturday, I usually promote things like my book and free gifts and things like that. And Sunday is about Soulciety Sunday, about the podcast, and so on and so forth. And so what I do is I put these into a spreadsheet. And I basically put it into a spreadsheet, and then those the 7 days a week, then I have 12 topics for each of those. That makes an entire 12-week, which is a quarter of the year. Okay. So just to repeat that, right? So it's not that complicated. It might feel a little overwhelming, but it's actually not. All you have to do is think of 7 themes that you talk about, because generally people have kind of different areas that they talk about. And then you have 12 topics within that theme. And that's going to make your entire quarter of content. And then what I do is I duplicate that every single quarter. Like, so for example, let's pretend that it's Transformation Tuesday. And it is, say, the 4th week. And I'm talking about E4 trauma method, right? And how to reprogram your subconscious mind. I will repeat that again in Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. And basically then, but obviously I'm not going to talk about the exact same thing. I'm going to talk about reprogramming the subconscious mind, and I'm going to have different stories or different themes or different things I've thought around that topic or different things I've been working with clients, right? So you need to think about, what are your 7 topics? Let's just pretend for a minute that you teach nutrition, that you're somebody out there that you really feel like you can make an impact in the world by teaching nutrition. Maybe on Mondays, you talk about ways that you can do bulk, what's it called, when you basically prep your meal prep, right? And you teach upon those things and 12 different distinctions around that. Maybe on Tuesday, you talk about different food groups that actually help nourish your body. And then you talk about 12 different distinctions within that. And then Wednesday, you're talking about great little snacks that are fast and easy and don't have a lot of calories, but have a lot of nutrition, things like that. And you have 12 different topics that you're talking about that, right? So then you just duplicate that for your next quarter, okay? So it might sound overwhelming, but it's actually super easy. And one of the fun things that we do in Soulciety is each quarter we want to create something new. It's really fun to be efficient and actually have something that you're creating in life. So for example, some of the gals say, you know what, I want to create a book in this quarter. And they'll take the 12 weeks of the quarter, and they will break up 12 different chapters of their book. And each week they have the goal of completing one chapter. So if you took, say, your book, a lot of people don't like long books anymore. Say you had a book that's 150 pages and you divide that by 12 chapters. What is that? That's like, I don't know what the math is on that, but it's, probably about, it's less than 20 pages, obviously. So then you begin to have the goal of writing that in 1 week. So then you can break down each day, how many pages do you need to write each day, right? So by the end of the first quarter, they may have a first draft of their book. Second quarter, they're going to go through and edit the whole thing. And third quarter, they're going to publish it, right? So this is an example. Another thing, people want to create, like, say, a YouTube channel. You've never created a YouTube channel. You're, nervous, but you know that you want to do this. So what we'll do is sometimes people have, they have the goal of creating content every single day on YouTube for a whole quarter. Imagine how many pieces of content you're going to have out of that, right? 12 weeks times 7. You're going to have a lot of content coming out of that. And so if you just did something like this every single day, you become a content queen. And as you begin to see how you can to repurpose your content, you become the master of creating content. And at first you might be like, well, what should I talk about, right? Some of the girls don't know. They're like, I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, well, why don't you talk about what you're learning? So some of them take, say, some of the worksheets that they learn in Soulciety or different things they're learning in class. And by teaching it, they actually embody it even more. So they begin to teach it out on their social media, or take it into talks, or do whatever it is. So there's always a way of finding content. You don't have to recreate the world. It might be your own experience of what you went through in that day, or what you learned, or your own journey. Some of the people that do the best on social media and they're creating content is they just take people through the process. So instead of pretending to be the teacher, which maybe they're not quite the teacher, they take them on the journey of being the student. What did I learn today? What was challenging about today? What did I read today? What did I learn in class today? Things like that. So there's always a way of creating content, and it is a fun thing. We play it all the time. We take one big goal of the year. So maybe your one big goal is to, have a thriving online business coaching one-on-one. And then we break it back into 4 quarters of the year. What needs to happen in that first quarter, and how you're going to create the content for that. Maybe you're creating a website, and maybe you want to create the content, and you break down all the different parts of the content that you need for your website. And then in that quarter, you slowly chunk away the different things, like your bio, like what are the pain points that you're solving for your client? Who are you and what's your story? What's possible? What are the benefits if they work for you, right? All these parts of the content that you need to create, and we back it up into creating content. And then that same content you could talk about on your social media, and that same content you could write a book on how to create a 101 website content, right? So it's all possible. And when you become a master, a content queen, a spiritual content queen, you begin to understand how you can repurpose all of your thoughts out there, right? So for example, you'll see quotes a lot and things like that. Imagine that every day you created quotes, and then you duplicated them the next quarter, but you did it in a new fashion, right? So for example, in the first quarter, maybe the first week of quotes, I'm going to quote out all about relationship things. The second week of the month, creating quotes, I'm going to tell all about subconscious reprogramming. The third week of the month, I'm going to create quotes that are all about universal law, and so on and so forth, right? And the next quarter, I can just take those same quotes, but I can rearrange them, right? I can put it into new verbiage, but the same kind of a quote. No one's going to know, oh, that was the same quote she did 4 months ago, right? Like, you have to think of repurposing your content. And one of the things that we master as becoming, the girls that get certified as spiritual coaches, or the soul-based business owners that are in Soulciety, is that they recognize that in order to embody the wisdom that they're teaching, whether it be with a one-on-one client or whether on stage speaking or whether they are being interviewed or on a show or whatever, they have to embody their wisdom. And one of the greatest ways to embody your wisdom is to teach and teach and teach. Write that blog, write that book, put it on social media, put it into quotes, put it into whatever, put it into all the different modalities, all the different practices. And I know that creating content is who you are. You're a creative spiritual being. That's what you are. You create. That's all we do is create. So say that you are frustrated because you can't create, you don't know how to create content, then talk about that frustration. Talk about it, and you could interview somebody about how they overcame, being able to create content every day. What were the little tips and tricks that they use? So for me, again, my biggest trick, I would say, is to duplicate it every quarter. Create the content, break it up into 7 days a week, and then just take 1 day a week and think about 12 topics you can do for that one thing. And then you can duplicate it, right? Again, Monday, do Manifestation or Miracle Monday, Transformation Tuesday, Wealth, Wisdom Wednesday, Thought Thursday, Feelin' Friday, Feels Friday, right? Which is all about dating, love, and relationships. Saturday is, I don't know what we call it, but it's Saturday. And then Sunday is Soul Society Sunday, and we do the podcast and show, right? So you can think about themes of your life, whatever that is. Maybe you do crystals, and maybe your crystals have different themes around it, like the vibration of crystals one day, or maybe you do astrology and how it relates to crystals the second day or whatever. I don't know that genre that much, but you can get the gist of it. Come up with the themes. You can always change it next quarter, right? You can always change it down the line, but you're going to start to feel of what are the core things that you're teaching and take that into and then when someone sees you on social media or they read your book or they take your course or whatever it is, they recognize you are the expert in this realm. They click and get notifications from your social media because they know that if they go to your page, they're going to learn something specific that they want to learn. That's why they followed you, and that's why they click notifications, because they want to learn about whatever it is that you're teaching. So if you have consistent content, whether it be on your social media or your blog or your podcast or your book, or whatever, then they know this is her expertise. And if I'm ever talking to a girlfriend and I feel like they would want to learn something like this, you would be the first person they'd think about, right? Because you're consistent in teaching the same stuff over and over again. It doesn't need to be redundant, but it needs to be in a theme, right? So people follow astrologers because they know every day they're going to learn about astrology. Every day they're going to learn about what's going on planetarily. Every day they're going to learn horoscopes. Every day. And they go, if that person all of a sudden was talking about food and whatever, they'd be like, well, that's cool, but isn't this an astrologer, right? So don't be afraid to have repetitive content. Obviously, you have a new story around the same distinction. You have different stories around it. You have different research backing it up. But the principles and what you teach are the same. And that's why someone comes back. So becoming the queen of content, become the spiritual queen of content, takes organization. And it's simple. Don't overwhelm. You could create your content in one weekend for an entire year because you're just doing one quarter. You're doing 12 weeks of content and you're duplicating it for Q2, Q3, and Q4. Okay. So in Soul Society, again, I train the girls of how to become CEOs of their personal and professional life. And the thing is, if you truly want to make money online, if you truly want to take your company online and scale it, you need to treat it like this is your profession. So it's not like you just decide to not create content one day. Like, this is part of sales. This is part of people following you. This is part of making your mark on the world. So you have to really embrace becoming a content queen. It's who you are. You are a creative, exponentially creative, innovative, spiritual being. And we want all of you. We want your voice. We want your art. We want everything. You are a profound creator. You are making a mark on the world. And I know that. I know in your heart that there's something to be born. Don't be afraid. It doesn't have to be perfect. Get it out there. Be expressed. I used to use social media just as a creative outlet, just for an emotional outlet, just as a place for me to be expressed. Just put it out there and you'll get evolved. It'll look better. You'll start sounding better on lives. You'll start sounding better in your posts. But it takes It takes practice, practice, practice. That's why we call it a daily spiritual practice. Your expression in the world of your content is a practice also. It takes time to become a great content creator, but just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, building the muscle of a creative factor that you are, and knowing that you are a content queen. That's who you are. That's what you're born to be, the expression of you, your voice, your message, your gift, your impact, making a difference in the world. I know you can do this. So I invite you, if you are interested in really mastering these skills, we teach them a lot in Soulciety, you're welcome to reach out, joining the leadership or the ambassador program, certification program, membership, leadership, and ambassador. So have a beautiful day. And I know that you are a creator. Have a beautiful day, and may you live your truth. Thank you for tuning in to Soulciety and Dr. Erin podcast. If you've had a calling to be a spiritual leader or coach, you can go to soulciety.com and check out our free training. If you've received value here, I would love it if you take a moment and give a 5-star review. In exchange, I have a ton of free gifts for you. Grab your free Awakening book, 40 guided meditations, and digital manifesting masterclass. I also have a free money meditation and worksheet for you so you can begin to break through your scarcity mindset and claim your birthright of prosperity. You can get all of your gifts and learn about our upcoming transformational events in my bio link in both Instagram and Facebook. That's under drerin.tv, which is DRERIN.tv. Also, I'd love to invite you into our free private community on Facebook under groups called Soulciety. That is facebook.com/groups/Soulciety. That's SOULCIETE. Have a divine day, and may you live your truth.